Hello everyone, my name is Dawson and I'm super excited to share an idea with you using the Numbers Quarterly Scrapbook Kit. So I'm just going to pull it out here and just share a couple of things with you really fast on what are included. So we have some 12 by 12 pattern papers here. Got this awesome block number, this kind of like computery type of font. I love this number font on here. This could be really cool cut up or cut out. And then this, I think when Allie was introducing it, she was mentioning you could cut it into strips and use it for making lists. This is one of the ones I'm going to be using today, this one in Allie's handwriting here. And then there's also some patterns here that are in the 7 by 8 1/4 size for 6 by 8 albums. There's a couple here that I really wanted to use. I'm going to end up using this guy, but I love this one, and this one is actually the one that inspired my story in a different way, and I will explain in a moment. But just kind of wanted to share. There's some fun bright colors, but all different kind of numbers. This one would be really fun for a school layout. Top 10 would be really cool to pick any topic really, or top 3 of something. And I even considered using this one as well. But this was one where it was number 1 through 10. And it reminded me that my boyfriend and I are coming up on our 10-year anniversary. But I realized that this particular paper did not give me enough room for journaling. Because I was trying to figure out how I could document one thing from each year. It's too small for that. So I thought I could do a little bit more journaling about let me count the ways. Here I have a little bit more room to do journaling. So I went on my journey to find a photo, and that led me to where I'm going to be doing a very hybrid layout here, where I'll be using a digital version of this photo with the physical copy of this pattern paper, and then I'm going to also do a digital version of this because I'm changing some colors around. So these are vellum numbers with an ampersand and numbers 1 through 9 with a 0, I believe. These are clear plastic numbers that go 0 through 9. 2 sheets of gold puffy numbers. And then these are some really fun cards where there's journaling with a circle cut out, and then these die cuts can be put in the middle. So there's gold numbers and some really fun icons like a camera, a house, a flower, a heart, clock, sun, things like that. There's some really fun things that you can do with this. I'm going to leave this out. I'm going to leave these out. I may potentially use these. I'm not actually sure yet. I'm going to set the rest of this aside for now. I'm going to show you what I printed out to use. So I went ahead and printed out my journaling digitally. I'll show you what I've got going on here. So while I loved the red, it was really stark, and blue is one of my favorite colors. So I went with kind of a fun turquoisey blue teal. And the numbers, I believe, were also red, so I changed those as well. So this was a really simple change in Photoshop. A lot of people always ask me how I change things. All I did was take the paint bucket tool and selected a color and just clicked on it, bam, changed the color, changed these to black, and that's literally all I did. And then I added new layers for the journaling and typed in using the Remington noiseless font, I believe at a size 10. So added the journaling. The topics I picked were let me count the ways. I love the way you make me laugh. How I feel safe with you. Love how you cook. I love how we travel. And then love you for being you. And then a few other little details. I was also considering originally picking like a photo from when we started dating and a photo from when we obviously are currently dating 10 years later. But I wanted a place to be able to add some pattern paper. So I just stuck with a photo of what we look like now. So my plan is I will crop this photo out and leave room at the bottom to keep it at a full 8 1/4. I'm going to add some of this pattern paper here. And then I printed out those vellum numbers. I changed the color to black. They're not going to stay black though. The reason I did that is I printed them on my, I guess it's an inkjet printer, I think, that you use to print on a Mink. And I'm going to layer that over top of the pattern paper. And I'm going to use this reactive foil here in this blue color. And to be honest with you, I know I had a teal blue, but I think I did a pretty good job of selecting a color. I didn't even have this pulled out. I just kind of guessed, to be honest with you. So this is going to be teal blue. And then I have this paper in my stash that is like I don't even know what you'd call it, like a foil kind of cardstock, I guess, that I believe I got at either Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I'm going to run a little piece of it through my silhouette and cut out the word years in Allie's handwriting. So the pattern paper is going to say 10 in blue with the vellum, and then the word years in her handwriting is going to be layered over top of that. And then I'm trying to figure out how I want to represent the actual years. So I was thinking about using these because they came in the kit. They're a really bright gold. They're very yellow for what I'm doing here with this kit. So I might try to find some white stickers here to spell out like 2012 to 2022 or something like that. I'm not sure. I also grabbed these little tiny puffy stickers from Heidi Swap that were black because they're really tiny, but they might be too small in comparison to this. I'm not sure exactly. So those are the kind of steps that I will and decisions that I'll make once I get these things cut out and trimmed. The other thing that you might be able to see that I did was when I printed this, because it's just a white background pattern paper, I added a tiny little stroke when I printed this. So I left the pattern paper a full 7 by 8 1/4 in Photoshop. I dragged it onto an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper or photo size, and then I used edit stroke to add a 2 pixel gray line so that I know where to cut it out. And then I will trim that out and I will punch the holes on this side because I think it'll look good. That's why I also justified my font to the left. There's room here, but I think it will look better on this side because that's where the numbers were. The awesome part about digital is that if I really wanted to, I could have moved these further over to the left and punched this out if I wanted to, you know, but I think it'll look just fine on this side. And then from there, I might try to add a couple little chipboard stars or hearts or something and see what I have in my stash, just to add a little bit something extra to make it more fun. So we'll see where we end up when everything gets trimmed out and foiled and cut out with silhouette. Okay, so as I'm getting started here with trimming out my project and photos here, I just wanted to remind everyone, because I forgot to say this in the intro, that anyone in the Instagram hop for the Allie Edwards ambassadors that's doing a process video, I will have a link for the hop so that you can continue and watch all the process videos together in the details of my YouTube channel post. And anyone who has just photos of their projects on Instagram, you'll be able to follow the link there. I'll have all that information in the details of the video. So either way, you'll be able to follow along with everyone who's participating. So back to what I'm working on here. I've got everything trimmed out, used my punch template there to punch the holes. And now I'm using that as a guide just to help to trim down the photo. I've just decided to keep it on the photo paper that I had to use it as a base. The photo, I ended up printing it at 7 by 4.5, I believe. It's just what I needed for the dimensions for the photo to look okay without cropping our faces, or, you know, just wanted it to look okay. So what I'm doing here now is adding 1/8 inch Gina K Terrific tape around the outsides of the white part of the photo paper here. This is not any page protector, so I like using double-sided sticky tape to ensure that things will be really secure instead of just rolling adhesive It's just generally how I operate. So I'm just releasing all that tape, adding the pattern paper down, and then I'm just going to use my scissors to quickly trim that out. So next I'm going to grab my mink machine, and I had a extra piece already cut and trimmed inside the roll there, so I'm just cutting it down to an even smaller piece. I'm going to lay it over top of the printed part there, grab a carrier sheet, and then I'm just going to show you a really quick view of it going through the machine. I only put it on a heat setting of 2 because it's vellum and I didn't want to overdo it, and that worked just fine. So here I'm just showing you a little bit of a close-up. I was hoping it would show a little bit more of the shine, but it gives you a little bit of a idea of the color and what it looks like. So, and it was fresh out of the heat there, so it looks really wrinkled, but it kind of relaxes and doesn't look quite so bad on the project after the fact, which is nice. So then I just wanted to lay it on the project, see how it looked. And I was kind of moving it around. I was trying to determine if I wanted to completely mute the black paper or if I was going to maybe punch it out. I wasn't sure, but I ended up using the whole piece. So here I'm just cutting out a piece of that cardstock so that I can use my silhouette. So I'm getting that set up here as well. I just needed a tiny piece because I'm cutting out one little word there. And I believe I trimmed like a 5 by 3 inch piece. So there you can see a little bit of a close-up of how the word cut came out pretty nice. And I'm just releasing that. And just putting my release cutting mat back. So now that all the components are finished, I can start actually building and putting the layout together. So I pulled aside some black stickers from Ellie's Studio. It's their Jane alphabet stickers. And I also grabbed some white ones as well. And I was going to use those, but I realized that they didn't really stand out very well against the white words in the background. The black actually popped more with the vellum. So I decided to go with the black numbers to represent the years that we've been together. And now I'm just trimming the vellum off. I left a little bit extra to give myself room to work with in case I needed to move anything around. And I like to use a paper piercer to help myself adhere stickers down, keeps my fingers out of the way, and allows me to see where the sticker is going to get placed. Some people use tweezers. I use a paper piercer. So here you can see I'm just lining those up. Kind of just eyeing it up for the first side. And then when I get ready to go do the left side, I'm going to use a ruler so that I can make sure that they are even with the ones that I did on the right hand side. But before I did that, I decided I wanted to go ahead and adhere the years down so that it didn't move around on me. So I'm going to kind of skip a little bit ahead where I've already added some adhesive to the back of that. And now I'm putting that in place. And here you can see now where I'm getting the ruler out so that I can align those number stickers. And just taking my time getting those added. And I thought that was just a fun way to represent our 10-year anniversary. So here I'm just using the red line tape on the back of the numbers, just so that it's hidden, so that I can adhere that down to the pattern paper. And now I'm getting ready to punch that side with some holes. And just adding a few little chipboard hearts just to give it a little bit more character and add a little bit more color. So I was looking at this black, white, and silver set that I have. That's a one little word. I added a couple in the center of the O's, or really zeros, sorry. And then the rest I added a few peach ones and a couple blue ones here and there just to add some color around. And that was pretty much all I had. I didn't want to do too much. I could have left it just like this and been completely happy, but wanted to add a little bit more whimsy, and it is a story about all the ways I love my partner, so thought that would be really fun. So I'm going to leave you a live look in just a moment with my final thoughts on the layout, and that will be that. I'm really happy with how everything came out. Okay friends, all done with my layout. I'm really happy with how it came out. Used a photo that I really love, told a little bit of a story, and got some journaling down about how I feel about my partner, and just really happy with how that came out. And stash busted a little bit as well. Still deciding if I want to add a date stamp. I mean, I do have the years on here, so I'm not really super concerned with that. If I do, I would use some stays on and maybe stamp it somewhere in this region. But for now, I actually like it, and I don't really want to mess with it too much. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and can't wait to see what you guys make with the numbers kit. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.